Greetings. Hey, this is Bill Paige, again, continuing our series on men of the Bible. And today's talk is going to be about a man named Jacob. His name means supplanter. And one definition, it means this, getting something through unethical practices. And you can read about him in Genesis 35 to 30. These are the words of George R.R. Martin. Nothing bores me more than books where you read 2 pages and you know exactly how it's going to come out. He says, I want twists and turns that surprise me, characters that have a difficult time, and I don't know if they're going to live or die. I truly believe if you read the life of Jacob, that is exactly how his life goes. You don't know if he's going to make it. You don't know what the next thing is going to be involved in and how all that's going to work out. So I'm just going to share a few things about his life, and there's some things that really kind of hit me as I was reading this. You know, and before I get going, before I gave my life to the Lord, I was a very vengeful guy. And if you did something to me, I was always looking for an opportunity to get back at you. And that's a part of Jacob's life. Not so much that he's the person that's doing that, but there's someone that wants to do that in his life. He was a younger twin brother of Esau. He came out second. In other words, Esau came out first. And you know, according to Jewish law and tradition, that whoever came out first, they had the birthright. In other words, they would get the share, the larger share of the inheritance of the father should the father pass away. They were the sons of Rebekah and Isaac, all right? And during her pregnancy, Rebekah was having some trouble in her womb, and God revealed to her that there were 2 nations at war within her. In other words, there was something going on the inside. She was having twins, and these twins were fighting one another. She prayed to the Lord, and the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, 2 peoples shall be separated from your body. One people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. And that's not the way it's supposed to go. The younger is supposed to serve the older, but this is what God has said. And when God says something, he's not a man that he should lie, nor the son of a man that he should repent. Okay? And so when they were born, Esau came out first. But Jacob, even as a baby in the womb, was holding on to his heel. And as they grew up, it says this about Esau: he was a hairy man. Matter of fact, he was hairy when he was born, and he grew to be a mighty hunter. And Jacob lived a lifestyle that was more tame. In other words, Jacob was kind of a soft guy, but his brother was this man's man, I guess, so to speak. There comes a time one day when Esau had been out in the field, and he came home and he was starving. And I guess Jacob was a pretty good cook. And Esau sees the food and he goes, give me some of that food, because if you don't, I'm going to die because I'm famished. And Jacob says, well, I'll give it to you if you sell me your birthright. And he goes, well, what good is my birthright if I'm dead? So he gave up his birthright for a bowl of stew. Unbelievable. He got this. And so it didn't mean anything. But in Genesis 25:34, it says, but Esau despised his birthright. In other words, he didn't honor the place and this tremendous blessing that God had put upon the firstborn, and he despised it. He's always known for doing things that were contrary to the will of God. He married outside of the women of Israel, and he, like I said, he despised his birthright. And now his father was nearing his time of departure. There was coming a time that he was going to die, and Jacob and his mom got together, with his mother leading the charge, and deceived Isaac, and he gave the birthright to Jacob when it should have gone to Esau, even though God had said the younger would serve the older. I guess maybe Rebekah, in her thinking, well, maybe God needs some help. Folks, God never needs our help. We need his help. And so The birthright through deception is given to Jacob, and Esau finds out about it, and he vows to kill him. In essence, he says, as soon as dad is dead, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to take you out. And then there came a point for Isaac's departure, and it says this, in that Jacob ran away, and he ran to his uncle's about 400 miles away. He got as far away from Isaac as he could, and he ended up staying there for more than 20 years, it is believed. He got married to 2 different women, and there comes a point where he wants to go home. But while he was there, he was deceived. You know, we tell people all the time, what goes around comes around. Well, it came around. And now he decides to come home. He's going to go home, even though he knows his brother wants to kill him. And on his way home, he has a tremendous encounter with God. And they get into this wrestling match. He doesn't know, of course, at first that it's God. But he knows that he wants a blessing from whoever this is. He wants this person to do something for him. He realizes this person is someone much greater than himself, and they end up having this wrestling match. And then the stranger says, let me go. He says, I won't let you go until you bless me. And then God chooses to bless him, but he pops his hip bone out of joint, and Jacob ends up walking with a limp for the rest of his life. You know, we all got a limp somewhere in our lives. But it was the beginning of an incredible turn of events. So here's what happens. So he sends messengers and he sends gifts to his brother, and one of the men that he sent gifts by comes back, and he says this. He says, Esau is coming to meet you. He's saddled up with 400 men, and they're coming out to see you. And I can imagine his heart starts to beat, and he's afraid, but he stands on this promise that has been given to him. And even though he sends all of these gifts, when they finally do meet, he bows before his brother. He pays homage to his brother. More or less, he's asking for forgiveness. And his brother takes him into his arms, and he embraces him and loves on him and cares for him. And at first won't even accept the gifts that he wants to offer, and then finally he does. But you know what I see in this story? That God has a way to bring reconciliation, that if God again is for us, he's more than the whole world that would be against us. He has a way of making our enemies to be at peace with us. He has a way of getting us to take ownership for our stuff, and then forgiving us for our stuff, and doing a great and mighty work in and through our lives. I really do believe that God is looking for people to work miracles through their lives. This really is a miracle, just as much as the miracle of him wrestling with God. And then when he had that wrestling match, the Lord changed his name to Israel. Wow, what an incredible God we serve.